to our lecture. This is going to be week 5 and we're going to continue with the second type of modeling, which is actually on the regression topic. Last week we had this replacement class online, and I think we just myself already presented to all of you the first type of machine learning algorithm, which is what? What is the first modeling? The last recording? Huh? KNN used for classifications. Okay, like I said, most of the practical exercises, even the lecture also, we're going to focus on the classification. But if they say you wanted to learn more on the regression type of things, okay, you can also come to me, then I can give you some other example on clustering, dimensionality reductions, or even reinforcement learning algorithm. Okay, but for the purpose of this module, all the examples that we're going to do in the practical and as well in the lecture will always covered on the classification topic. Okay, so last week you already had KNN. How many steps? 4. What's the first one? 4K, very good. Second step? Distance. Third one? Using what method? Euclidean. No answer there, Priya. There are 3 methods. You got Euclidean, you got Manhattan, you got Mauskansky something. But for us, we just focus on the Euclidean method. Even that is already some student having a problem to do on the calculations on the Euclidean. Do you understand the calculation? Okay, formula will be given in the exam if there is a question on that. Okay, you just have to understand how the calculation should be done. Of course, definitely in the exam, I can't give you the whole complete set of questions in the practical, the coding. But calculation, definitely at least 1 or 2 questions will be covered in the exam or even in your midterm test later on. Okay, so Euclidean distance, that's second step. Third step, after you calculate the distance, what's the third step? Majority. You look on the majority, correct? And then last one, fourth, assign. That's all. Okay, remember the keyword and then you can just elaborate it on your own. That are actually the 4 steps we use for the KNN. KNN stand for? KNU? KNN stands for? K nearest neighborhood. And that's why you have to calculate the distance. There are a few other of algorithm also using distance, yeah. But for your case, I think this is one of it. We just focus on this KNN. And as for today, we're going to learn about the regressions. But for our example, again, even the name is regression. Okay, we will focus on the classification type of even though the name is regression, we will understand first what's the difference between regression and also classification. Okay, by now I think every one of you understand what's classification. I've already explained what's meant by classification in my video last week or even from the second week after we learned about data preprocessing. What is classification? What is classification? Grouping. Okay, what's the difference between classification and also clustering? They both are doing grouping, huh? Don't get confused. But what's the difference between these two? No. There's one thing. There is one big difference between classification and clustering. What is it? Very good, label. That's it. Classification has label, all your data got label, images got label, okay, cat or dog. But in the clustering algorithm, no, you don't have label. Okay, so that's what a little bit more complex compared to the classification. So more learning that you need to do in the clustering. They are under unsupervised machine learning algorithm, unlabeled. Okay, so that what we're going to learn. I think you're not going to learn on the clustering. But regression today, like I said, even the name is regression, you will have simple linear regression, multiple linear regression, logistic regressions. But we try to focus more on how you can use regressions for the purpose of classification. There are some algorithms. Name is regression, but it is actually for classifications. Okay, you have to understand the difference between classification and regression. Classification is when you do the grouping. Regression is when you want to find numerical values. Okay, I will got the slide about it later on. Okay, you want to find the numerical value. For example, when you want to do the temperatures, your data set is all about the temperature, so you can classify hot and cold. Cold, that is classification, correct? But if you want to find the value of the hot weather or the cold weather, you must to find out the value of the temperatures. the degree Celsius, okay, the Fahrenheit temperature, that is already a regression. Okay, and both regression and classification are under the supervised machine learning algorithm. So that is what we're going to do today. Okay, in your practical later on tomorrow, you will have a practical with the simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. The code I've already shared with you all. Have you tried it? Of course no. But tomorrow we'll do it. Okay, so but try it first before you come to my lab tomorrow. Okay, so that is actually about this, what we're going to learn today. Okay, and a little bit of revision from what you have done last week on the K and K nearest neighborhood. I'm going to talk about your group assignment 5 minutes before end of our session. Please remind me. But let me finish this one first because this is very, very important. Okay, this topic under the regressions, I have 2 slides. Yeah, number 1 is the PDF one. The second one is this one. Both are actually useful and important. Okay, especially this PDF file one. Okay, because this slide is actually explain to you what it means by the regression and example how you can actually calculate the regression equation. I think I did mention in your first or second class talking about the regressions equation. What is it? Y is equal to mx plus c. You have to remember that. It is important. When I say it is important, that means something. Y is equal to mx plus c. You're going to see that equation again later here in this slide PDF. Okay, but then this PowerPoint slide, this is just a slide that I share with all of you, talking about different type of regressions algorithm. Some of it is actually classification. Some of it is actually for the regression itself. Okay, so please read this PowerPoint slide. Okay, I'm not going to go through this PowerPoint slide in details because in here you have the mostly on the statistical inference. So I'm going to use this one. Okay, even though if let's say you wanted to ask me an equation related to this slide, you can come to me personally because we only have 1 hour. Okay, but again here in this slide, it will actually give you some example of modeling or algorithm that is related to the regression. So please, there are a few 4 or 5 algorithm here in this PowerPoint slide. Okay, showing to you which one is actually the regression itself, which one is actually the classifications. Okay, and inside in this slide there are many formula, of course, mathematical formula like I said. So I don't want to really focus on this. This is my own slide. Okay, for my subject statistical inference. Okay, so we don't going to cover this one. You just have to understand the theories, the concept, find out how many types of algorithm in this slide is referring to classification and which one is referring to the regression. Is it okay? Is it okay? Now, let's move on to this slide. When we talk about the linear regressions, talking about linear regressions, either they are simple or multiple. This is the second question that we're going to ask. But first question that everyone need to know, the equations for the linear regression is y is equal to mx plus c. Y is what? Independent ke? Dependent, careful. You put it wrongly, then the whole equation is wrong. Your whole calculation will be wrong. That's why it's very important. Even a simple equation, you must know it very properly and put your answer, your values very correctly. Okay, so y is the dependent variable, your target variable, your output variable. Mx plus c, m, slope or gradient or kecerunan. X, independent variable. Okay, the factors, the parameters, your variables, your all columns, okay, given in your data set, that is actually your x. Your c, y-intercept, the coefficient. Okay, so that is actually what you need to memorize on the equations of linear regression. And then you have 2 types, simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. And in my PowerPoint slide, there is another one that is also important type of regression algorithm called as logistic regression. So please find out which one is regression, actually for regression, and which one is actually for classifications from that PowerPoint slide. Did you guys owe me anything from last week? Or maybe last week, did I ask you to do anything? No? No. Senang lah, everyone say no. Next week, find out from the slide. I wanted to know which one is actually regression and which one is classification. That is the only job you have to do. Next week. Please refer and read my PowerPoint slide. Is it okay? You don't need to memorize the formula in the PowerPoint slide. You don't need to memorize the formula. There's a lot. Okay, so that is only if you are taking statistical inference. We are doing data analytics and machine learning, so this slide is more appropriate for you. Okay, the equation that you only have to memorize is y is equal to mx plus c. That's it. Okay, so you know that is the important equations in the linear regressions. So basically what is actually regression is a form of statistical modeling. Of course, every machine learning algorithm that we are used are based on the statistical modeling. That is attempts to evaluate the relationship between one variable, which is called dependent variable, with another variable which is called the independent variable, which is the y is equal to mx plus c lah. Okay, you wanted to see the relationship between these two variables. So if you have two variables, y and x, the dependent variable and independent variable, if you have only these two relationship, okay, meaning that in x you only have one column, that is what we call simple linear regression. Clear? Clear? Okay, if you only have one column and that one column is your independent variable column or your x, that is what we call as a simple linear regression. So what happened with multiple linear regression? Apa? Multiple linear multiple independent variables. So many options of your axes lah in your data set that will make it becomes the multiple linear regression. But for our case, we're focusing more on the simple linear regression, a simple one. Okay, so meaning you only have one y, you only have one x. Okay, but why we did not really focus on the MLR, multiple linear regression, because there is a method called OSR, if I'm not mistaken. This is actually a stepwise calculation on how you want to determine from so many columns inside your data set which are the most important column to be used for the regression. And that is involved with so many calculations and computations lah. So that's why I don't focus on the multiple linear regression too much. But I had shared with all of you the code, the Python code for the MLR. So please do it. Okay, for the purpose of calculation, for the purpose of understanding the regression itself, we focus on the simple linear regression. So far, is it okay? Is it okay? Okay, so that is regression's definitions. You want to predict a number. Okay, you want to get the target values. Okay, so that is actually what we call just now, what we discussed just now. Okay, and this is what I mentioned. You have two types, simple linear regressions and also multiple linear regressions. For the simple linear regression, is more on the explanatory variables. When you have only one explanatory variable, which is your independent variable, the x. But if you have two or more, and then it will only suitable if you are using multiple linear regressions. Understand? Okay, both of this, either they are simple linear regressions or multiple linear regression, you can use it for the linear or non-linear equations. Okay, meaning that your graph later on, you learn in the school y is equal to mx plus c. The line is linear or non-linear? Linear, right? You got a linear line. Okay, lined. They are linear. So we are focusing also more on the linear types of simple linear regressions. Okay, so that is actually a little bit of explanation on these two types of regressions modeling. Okay, and this is what I mentioned to you just now, the difference between classification and also regressions. Okay, when you've been given a data set for a temperature, okay, and then you want to classify whether they are hot or not, hot or cold, that is fall under the classification type of problem. So choose whatever algorithm is suitable for classifications. You learned last week KNN. KNN is what? Classifications or regression? Classification or regression? Classifications. Okay. There are some algorithm, sometimes they both can be used for both classification and also regression, or even for clustering under the unsupervised machine learning algorithm, the SVM. We get into SVM later on. SVM stands for support vector machines. Okay, support vector machines is quite general type of machine learning algorithm or modeling which can be used for both supervised or unsupervised. So SVM can solve both regressions or classification or even clustering problem. Okay, but that one later on, now we get into the SVM. So if you just want to group hot or cold, use classification algorithm. If you want to find the value, okay, for the hot weather or the cold weather, the numerical value, that is already becomes a regressions. Okay, so that is actually the difference between regression and also classifications. Okay, so the simple linear regression, like I said, how many variables you have? The independent variable for simple linear regression. How many numbers of variable or independent variable for multiple linear regressions? 2 or more. Okay, you can have 2 or more. So if you only have one case of independent variable to check the relationship with your dependent variable. Dependent variable is y or x or m or c? What's the symbol for dependent variable? Y or X or M or C? Y. Okay. Shannon. Shannon kan? Shannon. Okay, Y is the dependent variable. So you want to check the relationship between the Y and X. That is already become a simple linear regression when your X is only one variable. Okay, so that is actually a definition. So for example like this. Okay, they want to see the lot size. Okay, with the man hours. You got two columns. Two columns already. Two parameters. Two factors. Two attributes. So this one is multiple linear regressions or simple linear regressions? Multiple or simple? Kenapa? Why? Which one? That one, I will discuss about that later on. But from here, if you be given this data set, simple or multiple? Why? Oh, good. That's all. Simple, right? Because you can only choose one for X, another one for your Y. That's it. Now, the second question is the most important question. Once you know between these two can be Y and also between these two also can be X, the main important question is for you to determine which one will be your dependent, which one will be your independent. Now, from this lot size and also man hours, which one do you think is suitable to be your Y and which one do you think is suitable to be your X? Y is man hours. Sure? This one, in the exam, even in the exam, you have to decide. Then when you decide your Y, like I said just now, Ryan said wrongly, Y is independent. You decide wrongly, the whole thing will be wrong. So you must understand the concept of dependent variable and independent variable. So let's see this example. Lot size and the man hours. Basically, these two columns ask you to determine between these two variables which one is your Y and which one is your X. Which one do you think is Y, Piria? Y. Man hours. Anyone say lot size is your Y? Raise your hand. Why? 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 Standard intervals. Because of the intervals. So your point is about the intervals lah. Again. Okay, now, later on, I'm not sure whether I shared or not with you guys the weather.csv data set. The weather.csv data set is very, I really like that data set because of many students are confused. When they see my code, they get confused. Because in the weather.csv data set, let me know if I'm not shared, please check. If I already shared, then go through and check the data set. You can have variety options of your Y and your X, depending on your justifications. But if your justification is not acceptable, the whole thing will be unacceptable. But I'm so sorry. Your name, sorry? Kayana, I'm so sorry. If you are referring to the interval issue, that is not a good justification to determine the lot size is your Y. When we want to justify, to determine your Y and your X, that's why we know Y is what again? Dependent ke independent? Tengok. Baru je sebut. Y is what? Dependent variable. So meaning that whatever happen on Y is actually depending from your X. Correct or not? That's what I mean by the dependent. So in this case, your Y is your predicted output. Your Y is your target output. Correct or not? So if you think carefully, the relationship between, because we are talking about regression. When we talk about regression, it's all about relationship between these two variables. We are talking about simple linear regressions. So we want to find out what is the relationship between these two. And if your justification is just because of the interval, it's not acceptable. Nothing to do. When we talk about simple linear regression, we always talking about relationship. Boyfriend and girlfriend, you got relationship? Of course lah, boyfriend and girlfriend. Which one is Y? Which one is X? I don't know. That one is that's a good example. Which one is dependent and which one is independent? The girlfriend or the boyfriend? Girlfriend depending on the boyfriend or boyfriend depending on the girlfriend? You don't. Both are. That's why I said the weather.csv data set that I shared. If I'm not sure, you let me know. Very good example, because some student can justify very accurately the dependency between the variables in the weather.csv. Similar like boyfriend and girlfriend data set. Who depending to whom? Father and mother. Who is more dependent? Who is actually independent? Today we cannot say, right? Correct or not? So similar to this example, but when you want to determine which one is your y and which one is your x, always depending on the relationship. Who depend on others. That is how you justify. Not because of the numbers of data set, not because of the interval, not because of the size range of the data set. No. It's all about the relationship. Who depending on whom. And that is what we call relationship. You understand or not? You understand or not? So now let's see, between you and me. Who's the y and who's the x? No. Between you and me, lecturer and student, who's the y and who's the x, do you think? Huh? So who's actually the y? Who's actually the dependent? Huh? You, because of you depending on me to evaluate you. Correct? That's how you justify relationship. Or I can see me is actually, just now you said me is your y. Correct? I'm y or you y. I pun dah confused dah sekarang. Which one is y? You are the y. You are the y. So I'll mark based on your own performance. That's one justification. Another example, if let's say I am the y, I'm depending on you. Because of, if I want to get, I also have to be evaluated, correct or not? So if you don't perform in my class, it will affect me. So I am the dependent variable in this case. Can you see the difference of justifications? Two different cases. So similar like here. But both two justifications, two different cases that I told you just now, is all about relationship. I'm not talking about psychology here. This is not a psychology topic. So do you understand when you want to decide which one is your y and which one is your x? Justify correctly. And your justification is always must based on the relationship. That's it. Clear? Clear? So in this case, yes, I agreed. The lot size and man hours. In this case, man hours is depending on the lot size. So the lot size will be your x. Your man hours will be your y. Because of the bigger lot sizes, you will require more man hours. That's a good justification and acceptable. Can is it vice versa? Can is it opposite? I don't know, you think about it. But the clearer one is, for me, you want to determine the man hours, is always depending on the lot size. Bigger, then you need to spend more hours. That's easy and that's more strong justifications when you want to determine this y and your x. Clear or not? Clear or not? So I think if you understand that part, I think they should be fine. So what you need to do, once you know your y and your x, you can plot the diagram. You can see this is linear diagram. Okay, so similar here. Okay, you are talking about expected value is referring to the mean value. Okay, so equations, you know, the y is equal to mx plus c. So in this case, they are using different symbol. Okay, B naught and also beta naught and also beta 1. So the beta 1 is what? This would be 1. M, the slope. And this B naught is coefficient, your y-intercept. Okay, so you can see that this is where you got your B naught, and the slope here will give you the value of your B1. Okay, and the calculations of B naught and B1, this one you have to memorize. I'm sorry, I don't think even last year when we had these equations in the exam, I don't give the equations in the equations formula in the exam. But before we go to that, where is the equation? Yeah, this one. I get into this one later on. But before we go to that formula, the regressions modeling is all depending on the selections of your independent variable. Just now we did that. Okay, you have to determine very correctly which one is your y and which one is your x. Functional form of regression relations. This is, of course, the regressions relation is unknown. That's why I said you have to justify. It is unknown. Relationship between boyfriend and girlfriend, mothers and fathers, lecturers and students. The relationship is very unknown. Okay, and it is you can argue the relationship. Okay, but as long as the relationship argument is correct and just is correct, then it is justified. Okay, which one is your y and which one is your x. And the scope of the model, you must restrict the coverage of the model, the interval or the regressions of the value. So that's why Just now, the lot size and man hours. Don't make it too complex. Clearly, man hours is all depending on the lot size. If you want to spend more hours to organize, to process the lot, it's all depending on the lot size. Simple. Okay? Don't go beyond of it. Okay? Something that is not related, even though it's justifiable. Again, you are not taking my psychology class. You are taking my data analytics and machine learning. Straightforward. Okay? When you justify which one is your Y and which one is your X. Now, this regression analysis can be used for description, of course. Once you know your Y, once you know your X, you do the calculations, you got the value of your Y, your X, your M, and also your C. You can describe the relationship between the two variables. Okay, you can do some control. Of course, you can do some prediction as well, okay, from the regressions analysis. Okay, and this is the equation that we got to know from the beginning. And the most important thing is this formula. Okay, this B1 formula and B0 formula. I'm so sorry. I think last year we did not provide this formula. I did ask this for midterm test, if I'm not mistaken. Let me check. This one. This is last year midterm test. Formula is not given. So you have to memorize the formula. But I think I made it open book. I made it open book. Because it's only 1 hour, 30 minutes. Midterm test is only 30 minutes. So student got problem. I don't want students to fail. So I asked them to open the slides. So this is the formula that you have to use. I'm so sorry. That's why I don't really like to focus on statistical inference. I like to focus more on the practical, your Python programming. It's easier. You call the library, everything done for you. Otherwise, inilah. This is the problem. Always student have problem to memorize. The X terbalik lah, the Y terbalik lah, yang ada N tak ada N lah, yang summation got summation lah, someone tak ada square root lah, forgot the square lah. Then at the end of the day, many of my students will fail. So to avoid that, depend in your midterm test or final exam, definitely no open book. If I give this question in final exam, I'm so sorry, you have to memorize it. I'm a good lecturer. Before your final exam, I will tell which one you have to memorize. But this is in your notes. So this is your B0 and also B1 formula. So if the formula is not given, please memorize it. You know what is B0, you know what is B1, that's good. But now to apply it, you have to apply with the formula. Unfortunately, if this question come out in your exam, I don't ask you to write down. Don't write to me, import libraries regression and then calculate the M, definitely 0 lah. Okay, you have to do the calculation with this formula. Is it okay? You nak bawa notes inside and put in the toilet, I don't care. That's not my problem. You kena tangkap is your problem, not my problem. But this formula you have to memorize. Not many lah. For this module, there are not many formula that you have to memorize. I try my very best to limit the statistical inference modeling topic. Last week, you already had Euclidean distance, correct? You memorize the formula? Same goes to me. I don't memorize. I'm computer science student. I'm computer science people. I don't memorize the formula. Unfortunately, you are a student, then you have to do it. Okay? But I think for the Euclidean, I did put the equations inside the final exam paper. So I give you hint already. So please, make sure you know how to use the formula. Okay? So this is for the regression, the second formula so far, and how to do it now. How to do it? This is the most important thing. Formula given ke, tak given ke, I think it's based on your luck lah. If it is given, then you are lucky. If not, then you have to memorize it. Now, you got this another questions. The food and the milk yield for cow. Food intake and milk yield in a country. So this table, this is your data set. Correct or not? Which one is your Y? Which one is your X? Dah ada ke? Belum kan? Which one is your Y? Which one? Alah, dah ada dah. The answer is here. Okay, so your Y is actually your food intake. Your Y is actually your milk yield, the milk, and the food is actually your X. Any argument? Anyone not agree with this answer? Clear kan? That's why I said scope tadi, the third point. Make sure the scope is in the interval of the modeling. Okay? Make sure it's relevant. That's all. Don't go beyond it. You know that for a cow, if they eat more, then they can give more milk. Clear, simple. So everyone agree, right? So you plot. Every time you got regressions question, even though the question didn't ask you to plot it first. Why? Because we want to see the relationship. Linear ke tak linear? Okay? Then draw the line. You can see that you can have a linear regressions. And you can see roughly from the line, where is your y? Okay, you can see also from the line whether they are positive slope or negative slope. So if let's say you draw the line for these 4 points, positive or negative slope, your m will be positive. That one I'm not going to go through how to look to positive, how to make it negative. That one is your mathematics module. Cannot under this module. So that's how you determine your y and your x. Now, once you know what is your y and your x, now it will be easier for you to use it in the formula. Okay, in your formula, I put both formula. Both are actually acceptable. But for this note, you got the B note and B1. So this is the formula for B1. Before you get your B note, B1 just now is what? Y is equal to B naught plus B1x, correct? Correct? Y is equal to B naught plus B1x, right? So B1 is what? B1 is what? The slope. And B naught is the y-intercept. So before you get the y-intercept, you must to calculate the slope first. Even me myself have a problem to actually pronounce this equation. Summations of I from 1 until n xi y1 minus summations of I from 1 until n for xi multiply. Kan senang, computer science student call import library regression done for you. Right, but unfortunately you have to memorize. So what is x, what is y? So you can see that from this equation you have summations of x and y. You have summation of x, you have summations of y. Okay, you have the summation of x squared. You have the summations of x, the x squared. Okay, so that's why in this table you have your x squared value, your y squared value, and multiplications of x and y. So x and y have been given from the table. Okay, this table. Okay, so this is your x and your y. So you got x squared, can? Here you got x squared and the whole thing also squared. So you need x squared value. So that's why you have a column for x squared. Do you know how to calculate the x squared here? Anyone got problem with the calculator? No, So x squared, you got the x squared column. Then y squared as well. Okay, you calculate the y squared later on, just in case if they need it. Okay, so you got y squared here. And then multiplication of x and y, because these summations of x multiply y. So you got another column x multiply y. This table, anyone have problem? Raise your hand. Then I have one-to-one session with you. Anyone have a problem with this table? Okay? The x and the y is given to you. You have to calculate the x squared. So 4 squared is 16, 6 squared is 36, 10 squared is 100. I'm not teaching you mathematics. Then x multiply y column is 4 multiply 3, you got 12, and etc. etc. Then you do the summation, because everything here is with the summation. So summation of x is 32, summations of y is 24, summations of x squared is 296, summations of y squared is 162.5, and summations of x multiply y is 218. Once the table calculated correctly, everything will be easier. Substitute into the equation, summation of xy summation is 218, multiply with summation of x is 32, minus with summations of y is 24, divide by n, you know that you got 4 datas only, 4 rows only, then you divide by 4, the whole thing you divide by summations of x squared is 296, minus with summations of x, the whole thing squared, this is 32 squared, divide by 4. You do this calculation, you got your B1, the slope is equal to 0.65. 0.65, positive or negative? Which is aligned with your diagram just now, earlier. Okay? If you draw the line, you know it is positive slopes, which is correct. Your calculation is correct. Okay. Okay, so you got your m is 0.65. Now your next job is to calculate the coefficients or the y-intercept, which is your b0, given by the formula y minus b1x. So you know that the y is actually what you got here, minus b0 is, b0 you already calculate 0.65. Okay, what is y bar here means? Y bar and x bar there, what is it means? Mean, average. Okay, you calculate you calculate the summations of y is 24, divide by how many? Your n? 4, that is why you got 6. Minus, your m is 0.65, multiply with x bar, here is your mean of 32 divided by 4, you got 8. You do the calculation, the y-intercept is 0.80. So if you substitute, your y is equal to 0.65x plus 0.8, the equations for your y. Clear? I wanted to see that last final equations in your final answer. Eh, what happened? What happened? Anyone touching anything? I didn't do anything. This one. Okay, so that is actually from the previous example. So you know that y is equal to mx plus c. So your m is 0.65, x plus c is your y-intercept is 0.80. So that should be your final equations. Okay, so you can see here that your slope is 0.65, your y-intercept is 0.8. So elaborate a little bit more. Okay, because you know that regressions can give you description. So that is the final description that you have to relate with your output of your M and the output of your C. Clear? Is it okay? Is it okay? That is for simple linear regressions. Okay, so this is just the steps. I think what we did just now, everything is okay. Evaluate the modeling, we'll do it in the practical later on. Okay, you will have a performance metric on how to evaluate your regressions modeling. Okay, but the most important thing, the difference between the multiple regressions and multiple linear regressions and also simple linear regressions is the numbers of your x. Okay, but in your case, okay, for your practical as well, if let's say you have the practical test later on with the linear regressions, I will only focus on the simple linear regressions. As for the calculations in the midterm test or your final exam, definitely simple linear regressions. Clear? Is it okay? So for the multiple linear regression, simple. If let's say you have, in the simple linear regressions, you only have 2 columns or 2 variables, but in the multiple linear regression, it will be more. Just like the weather.csv dataset that I mentioned. Okay, please check again on my times. If there is no dataset for the weather.csv, you let me know, then I will upload it later on, sir. Okay, so that is actually how you do simple linear regressions. And for the multiple linear regressions, also similar, except the x is more. Okay, in your practical with the weather.csv, I also shared the code for the multiple linear regressions for the weather.csv dataset. So you have few numbers of your independent variables, okay, in the equations itself. Okay, but the things and the purpose are similar, just like a simple linear regressions. Any questions? In this example of multiple linear regression also, you can see there is an example here. Okay, but I said exam ke, midterm test ke, or even your practical test, I will only focus more on the simple linear regressions. Okay, why? Because of multiple linear regression. If simple linear regression, also sometimes you can have an argument to justify which one is your y and which one is your x. Multiple linear regression also is even more complex. Okay, you also will have a problem after you determine your y and your x. The next problem that you have to solve is determine how many numbers of your x, okay, suitable for your modeling. And that is what we call the stepwise calculations. Okay, where you are using the OSR technique, something where you have to determine which independent variable is higher priority, okay, to be calculated into your modeling. Okay, so that is why we're not focusing too much on the multiple linear regression. But if you want to have an example, practical-wise, I've already shared the code. Okay, for the calculation, this is an example on how you can actually calculate the multiple linear regressions. Done. Any question? Next week, like I said, I wanted you to go through this slide. Find out which one is regression, example of modeling, which one is classification, example of modeling. Clear? Any question before I move on with the group assignment? Is it okay? Sure? Okay, so tomorrow we'll have a practical. We'll do the practical of the simple linear regression and multiple linear regression. Both I've already shared the code. Okay, please check again tomorrow if there is no whether those ASV in my times, let me know, then I will upload. Okay, and in your my times also for today exercise, I've uploaded this question from last semester, midterm test question. See, there is no formula. This is regression. Just now you have 4, this one you got 7, even more. Try it. Is it okay? I got the answer. If you want to see the answer, you come to me. Okay, this is just for your own extra exercise. Okay, practical wise, we do it tomorrow. Clear? This one I've already uploaded into your My Times. Now, the next important part on your group assignment. This is already week 5. There are still few students still did not register. I've already disabled the link because of I didn't mention when was the last date for you to register? 10 of May. I didn't mention in my class 10 of May. If you don't believe me, I can check the recording. It's a 10 of May. Some of you still not registered. It's okay. I will enable the link again today until end of this week. That's all. Why? It's unfair lah. Everyone already started. Some of the group, the leaders already contacted the owners. And suddenly you join in the week 6 or week 5. Or even after the independent learning week, which is more terrible. So unfair to the other group members. Okay, so that's why those who are still not registered, I will enable the link until end of this week only. Clear? That's number 1. Don't ask me where's the link. I've already uploaded the link inside your My Time. So find out where is the link for you to register your group members. I'll do it by tonight lah, because today I'm quite busy with classes. Now, another thing, this is actually a workshop that I going to conduct next week. So next week we probably will not have lecture. I invited these 2 speakers, important persons for your group assignment. And as well the owners of all the SMEs, 5 SMEs. I've uploaded in the My Times only 4 companies. Fortunately, there is another new one more company coming in. So I've got 5 already. Okay, and if let's say any one of you have a problem with the company that you approached earlier, or I've uploaded already in My Times, this poster, or you want to take my picture? Of my picture? Oh, okay. Okay, if let's say you have any problem with the company that you approach, I have an extra company. And that extra company, I will update the list of your Google link later on. Okay, so you can also register to that new company. And please approach. So far, I did not share the company's owner phone number because of the privacy lah. But they provided you with the email address, right? Ask them personally through the email first. If they allow you to get their number, then go ahead, contact them. Is it okay? Okay, and during this workshop, these 2 persons, Mr. Farhan is the COO for the Beyond Sdn Bhd, all the SMEs company under him. Okay, under Beyond Sdn Bhd, all the company that we got under him. So you nak complain ke, you want to say anything about the company, you can talk to him. He's the boss. Clear? And Datuk Fakrudin is the one who handled this project last semester with me with Alpha Cosmetic and also Chili Lado. So he got some experience from the previous batches of students. So this semester maybe he can share with you guys some tips on how you can actually complete your group assignment task. Now, from last semester, we started a little bit late for the group assignment. Because of the company, we got only 2 in week 7, if I'm not mistaken. So the student, first few 6 weeks, did not have any idea about the group assignment at all until week 7. But they managed to complete it. So please, guys, do your best to ensure that this group assignment will help this company. That's number 2. Number 3, when we talk about this group assignment project, I told you already from the first week, I cannot decide what problem you want to solve for the company. Because different company, different objective. So go and talk to the CEOs or the person in charge of that company. Ask them what the problem that they wanted you to solve. Some of them did not want customer behavior. They wanted to do customer behavior, or even sometimes I receive a message saying that they wanted to do on the account. Of course it's very difficult for a company. Even you, do you share your account bank to your friend? Not even to your brothers and sisters, right? So that's why be flexible and try to be more creative. Okay, find other problem, or you can either talk to the owners one by one through email. If you have the numbers, great. If not, then email them. Or you propose what problem that you can solve. I've already shared a few examples of objective. Customers' behavior, marketing strategy, social media platform, leadership, okay, team management, product study. So those kind of things is more easier for you to analyze rather than their account. But again, if you can get their account, straight away, I will be very impressed with you guys. But if you're not, try to be flexible. Clear? That's number 3. Number 4, when it comes to the modeling, it's also your decision. I did not specify in the question whether this is classification, clustering, regressions, or even dimensionality reduction. I don't mention. Previous group, some of the group even did clustering, even though we did not learn clustering in the class. So your objective, what you want to solve, will decide what modeling is suitable for you to use. And when it comes to the modeling algorithm, when it comes to the performance evaluations metrics, it's again your decision. You have 4 or 5 members in a group. Decide, discuss. If you have any problem, then you come to me. Clear? Any question? Group assignment, sekarang semua lah no question. Later on, pukul 3 pagi, 2 pagi pun message. Ask about group assignment. Sir, this person did not reply me. Sir, I don't know what to do with this project. Sir, my group did not participate. If you have any question, ask me now. I have 6 more minutes. Any question about group assignment? Guys, any question you want to ask about group assignment? Next week, during the workshop, each group 1 question. No question from your group, I'll deduct 1 mark. Honestly, that's involves participation. Every group 1 question. But don't ask what's the names of the lecturer. That one itu I tolak 10 terus. Clear? Now, any question about the group assignment? Is it clear? Yes, sir. Can. Yes, you can. No problem. Okay, but I had their numbers, I contacted them personally through their numbers. Even that they didn't reply. That is what sorry I'm not to belittle or downgrade people, but that's a normal problem. Okay, they are small, medium enterprise companies. Even worse, when you got them, communication breakdown. That even worse. That's why I mentioned from the beginning, each group at least 1 Malaysian must be in the group. Some of them cannot speak in English at all. Even the workshop, one of the speaker asked me to speak in Malay. I said, it's okay, I'll be the translator. That's why I'm there. Okay? So you can change the group, you can change the company, it's okay. But if possible, because I saw so far every company have been taken, there is one company with one group only. Okay, but if let's say you have a problem, you let me know if you want to change. Don't simply change the group. Okay, discuss with your group members first, email to me first. Then I will know what happened with the list. Clear? Any other question? Any other problem? This workshop is compulsory. Every one of you have to come. Every group members must be in the group during the workshop. I want you to sit in your group. Okay, so I will see how many members in the group. Okay, so easier for me to monitor. So I don't want to have any problem, even though we started earlier compared to previous batch. But I hope this semester we can do better lah. So 5 this year, hopefully next semester can have more than 5 companies. Because we got good reputation so far. Clear? Any other question? Sure? No, of course no. If you ask question, no extra mark. But if you don't ask question, then I will deduct mark. Simple. Participation. And that's group assignment. Group assignment, there are so many effective marks. Participation is one of it. Okay, so I can do that. But because I don't want to, I mean, at the end of the day, you are TELUS university students first private university. Takkanlah when we invited speakers, Datuk some more, come to our class, you don't ask question. They all are busy people tau. They come here during your class. I'm not doing this in other extra class. Not even online. They come physically. So please appreciate them. If you don't want to appreciate me, it's okay, but them. So that's why I need every one of you to ask question. Clear? So by now you can think what question you can ask lah. Okay? If possible, if let's say, because Dato is okay, I'm afraid with Farhan. Farhan is the one who asked me to speak in Malay. By language, someone can ask in English. Get your group members or even myself, I can translate lah. But get your group members also to translate in Malay as well. Is it okay? But discuss with your group members first what question you wanted to ask. And all question must be related to your group assignment project. Nothing to do with anything else. Jangan tanya midterm test question is what. Everything must be related to your group assignment questions. Clear? Clear? Okay, Sure, no problem. Shannon, you got a question? Okay. Okay, thank you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow for your practical. Bye.